Okay, g'day guys and welcome back. So this afternoon's video is we're going to look at packing up the crane. So packing up a Zoomlion 25 tonner. Now I've got a video already on doing the pre-start for it and how to set it up. So now we're going to look at how we actually pack it up. So it's not quite the reverse of the setup. There are a couple of minor differences. All right, so if you've just finished your lifts, right, the first thing we need to do is we want to bring the hook back over the front. Now, you don't necessarily have to do that. If something's in your eyes, you can always do it over the side as well, then bring it around over the front as you need to. All right, but to make our life a little bit easier, all right, the first thing I'm going to do is just move the crane around and line it up with over the front of the crane. All right. Now, it doesn't have to be exact. You can always make those little adjustments as you go as well. All right, there we go. We've got it over the front. Let's just move this camera down here a bit more so you get a better view. All right. Now, when we're packing it up, all we want to do is we want to make sure we take hooks up nice and high, because as you suck in, those hooks are going to come down, and we don't want them to hit the deck or hit the ground or do anything silly. So we take our hooks all the way up, and we boom the crane up to about 70 degrees, right? Now, the higher the boom angle, the easier it is on the actual crane, less wear and tear on the wear pads inside the boom. Right, so think about two tubes inside each other. The higher you hold it up, the easier they're going to slide in and out of that as well. All right, so what we'll do is first up, we're going to take our hooks up. All right, I've been working on the headache ball, so I'll take the headache ball all the way up. All right, so keep it just off your two blocks. All right, the higher up, the easier it is. All right, then we're going to boom it up to 70 degrees. As I said, the higher you boom, the easier it is. If I was to have to fly on, I would probably take it to more like 78 or 79 degrees. Keep it right next to that backstop, just make that bit easier to come in. Right, so we'll move it up. And as you're getting closer, all right, as we're getting closer, I'll start easing up on the speed. Right, because what you don't want to do is just let go of the lever, right? Because that shock loads the system, come to a sudden stop, and you see your hooks doing all sorts of swing in and nasty stuff. Right? Especially when you hook so high, the last thing you want to have to do is swing back into the boom. Right? So especially when you're working on the boom, always gentle on, gentle off. Right? Now, when I start sucking it in, my main hook has 4 parts of line, so that's not going to come down low enough to bother me. Right? The headache ball, or the small hook, however, that's going to come down a lot faster. So when I start sucking it in, I want to be ready to start pulling up on that small hook as well. Now, one thing you never want to do if you're pushing the boom out or sucking the boom in, you never want to rope up or rope down on your main hook, because that will a lot of times result in spooling of the winch drum, which becomes an ugly mess and can damage your rope. Right? So if you're sucking it in and your main hook is getting too low, stop sucking it in, pull that main hook back up, and then continue sucking it in. All right, so there we go. We're going to start sucking it in, and we're going to, as the small hook gets lower, we're going to start pulling that one up. Now remember, whenever you're doing operations in the crane, some small light revs will always work that hydraulic pump to make it a bit easier for you. Right, so headache ball's getting it right. Start pulling that up. Okay, so now that we've got the boom all the way in, it should read the same on your load chart. So on this particular crane, all the way in, it tells me at 10.5 metres. Double check on your computer, that is reading 10.5 metres as well. All right. Now, once we do that, now you can do more than one motion at a time, but for simplicity's sake, what we're going to do is we're going to take our hooks up, and then we're going to start booming it down to put it in the crane. Right? When you take your hooks up, keep about half a metre off the 2 blocks. If they're too close, what you'll find out is as you're booming down, they'll creep up, and they'll actually 2-block the crane before you get where you need to be. Okay, so I'll just take them up again. Okay, so there you go, about half a metre off. So the main hooks. All right, once I take my hooks up again, I'm essentially just going to boom down until my luff limit cuts me out. Right, now I could bring the hooks up through the 2 blocks before that, but why listen to the alarms go off any more than what you need to? Right. So there goes my alarm. So now I'm going to double check that I'm actually in line with the cradle. You need to make a little adjustment, just sort it across a little bit. Now, because I'm in alarm, this is where I need to turn and hold that override key. Right, this is the only time you should really be using it. Right? I'll bring my hooks up one at a time. I'll always bring up the small hook first, because if I bring up the main hook first, I won't be able to see where that hook is. Right? So I'll bring my small hook up. Okay, and I'm going to keep that about 300 mil off that rooster sheet. Then I'll bring up the main hook. So it's about level with that headache ball. Still turning the key. I'm going to just put it down nice and gently in that garden frame. Here you go. Righto, from there, we need to just hit our power button. We still need to leave the engine running because we need the engine running in order to back the cab this up. Right, so from here, we're going to jump out and we're going to look at packing up the averages. Right, my first of all, when I get out, is my first thing I'm always going to do is walk out and unpin all the averages. Okay, now that we've climbed out of the cab, the very first thing I'm going to typically always do is I'm going to walk around and pull all my pins out. Okay? One. As I'm walking around, I'll make sure I take my controls down, take out all my barricading. That's 2. 3. Remove my controls on this side, so it brings out my extrusion zone. Tucked in here we have number 4. Alright, so now we've got all our outrigger pins out. Come over to our controls. So we have our controls here. So on a truck mount crane, there are 5 outriggers, or rather 4 outriggers and a front stabiliser. That front stabiliser, if you watch the setup video, you'll see that's the last one to go down. When you're packing it up, that front stabiliser is always going to be the first one to come up. So what I will typically do, well, you can see it. Alright, so the orange is my front. So on the front, so down I'll place your jacks. Right, so I'll start lifting that up, I'll count to 3 and then I'll knock the rest of them down as well. Right? So I'll count 1, 2, 3. I know it's clear in the deck now. So I can then knock all the rest of them and then get it coming up. Okay, so once all your rams are up, then we want to slide them in. Now remember, when you're pushing them out or pulling them in, you only do the side that you're on. So on this side of the vehicle, I've got a green one and I've got a purple one. Right? Now to operate the sliders, right, you've got to push them up. Right? And the red one over here, can't quite see that. And the red one, pull them up, suck in, you push it down and push them out. Right? So we'll start lifting them up and sucking them in. Now once they're in, we make sure we put our pins back in so they're in when you're travelling. Okay? One pin, Okay, 2 pins. All right, very important you put the pins in or pull the pins out as needed. Okay, so then we do this side. So this side is going to be the blue and yellow levers. All right. Put it down here. Right, so blue and yellow up because we're using the top of the outrigger, and we pull them in with this one. Okay, so we've got all the outriggers back in, they're all pinned, so now we just need to shut the crane down. We need to take the PTO out and have it in neutral. Alright, so first thing going, push the clutch in. Okay, then you've got the big round button here, which is your PTO. Push that in, and then put it back in the neutral. Alright, and then we can just, so much quieter now that that's off. Okay, so that's the basics of packing it up. Now remember, some of those operations you can do more than one operation at once, but for simplicity's sake, and especially if you're only learning, good idea you just stick to one motion at a time. Alright, with a bit of practice, then we'll start looking at, when you're operating the crane, how to float the load and how to do more than one motion at a time. Alright, so I hope that helps on the pack up. From this stage, what you would do at the end of the day, you'd make sure all your equipment's been put away. Make sure you pull down all your controls, so all your barricading, all that kind of stuff. If you were getting it ready for road travel, you'd make sure that you'd secure your hooks, you stow all your equipment. If you're in an all-terrain, you'd unlock your suspension and get it ready for road travel. Alright, so keep that in mind as well. Alright, so that's just a quick rundown on how to pack up the Zoomlion. If you do have any questions, just leave a comment or jump on the webpage and you can send me an email as well. Alright, so if there's anything else you want to see on the cranes, get in touch and we'll see if we can help you out. Alright, so thanks for your time and see you in the next video.